The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome, everybody, to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. We've got an interesting day out here in the fact that we've got no direction. I don't think the little boy band would be probably, what do you think they would have been reserved or been received as well if they would have been called No Direction instead of One Direction? And I'm not exactly sure which direction they're going, but apparently there's only one. I guess there's always forward and back. But I do digress. We've got a market that is flat, literally flat, up 39 cents on the S&P cash, under 2 billion shares. I've been seeing a lot of stocks and the indexes kind of come into this 2040 to 2060 range where there's fairly decent support. A handful of stocks cracking, a handful of other ones with very light volume at these bottoms. Not seeing the kind of distraction and destruction that I would think you would see, especially in the energy sector, as we pull back. In fact, we've got a few things going on out here. And what do we have out here in crude right now? It's off 69 cents, 47.59. And, you know, you'd think that you'd really start seeing some of these things like ExxonMobil down. It's up 30 cents. It looks to me like we're finding some kind of level of support out here. I thought maybe crude would bounce and the dollar would pull back or start pulling back today. Maybe that happens later. At the moment, of course, dollar index up and looks like it's they want to go tag this 100 out here. We got pretty close, $99.84. I thought yesterday may have been the top in that dollar index, and I thought maybe we would see people, maybe the government, Treasury, Fed, somebody get in here and slow down the dollar. But there's no slowing down that dollar. It looks like it's the Triple Crown winner right now from pole to pole. There's no slowing it down. Of course, we've got gold off, what is this, $8.50, $8.60, something like that. Silver off 23 cents. And, of course, I was listening to Andy last night, and he had this to say about gold and silver.
And right now, gold is... Silver prices are also...
Well, he didn't actually say that. I put the beeps in there even though they weren't necessary. So it's this week an unnecessary censorship of Andy, but I think you could probably fill those words in just fine. Of course, it certainly looks like 1130 is on the chopping block for gold. I thought we'd probably get to it today and didn't. But actually, some of these, the gold stocks starting to get interesting out here, and I'd certainly like to see that gold tap that 1130 and say, are we there yet? And get some kind of indication. Maybe we're in a bigger trading range, but I think you're going to have to see gold. I think you're going to have to see the dollar index dramatically pull back, and I think it's going to take intervention. Maybe they just don't want any, and it's kind of hard to tell. So, what else do you say? It's pretty much everything going on out here. Again, not a lot of volume and just cracking 2 billion shares here today as we start the show. So not a lot happening. Of course, we are going through options expiration. This is the day when option market makers go delta neutral. And it would be very interesting to see one of the lightest volatility days on a day when option market makers are going delta neutral. That may indicate that a lot of yesterday is already in here and they were going delta neutral. I'll be watching those options. Unfortunately, getting all the options data and correct options data normally doesn't happen until about 9 o'clock tonight when it starts filtering back in. We get the bad ticks out and the phony trades out of it. For one stock, probably not a big deal. For all of them, interesting. And then I'll run through my model, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. But unless something significantly changes, and it doesn't look like we're having a lot of movement here in the market so far today, 80% of the time you're going to see whatever the low of the day is today, which is 2040 on the S&P cash right now. That 80% of the time, a week from Friday, that market will close higher. And there's a variety of reasons why, but for the most part, people are buying puts as protection on long positions, and sometimes puts thinking that a stock will go down. But for the most part, most people are buying things like S&P 500 puts. And, whether or not those things should go down, that's probably more important. We've seen a little move in the VIX out here today, and it's up 39 cents at $17. But basically, we go through that 18 level on the VIX when everybody actually thinks that there is a market that's breaking. That we're down here at this lows and we're already through 18 tells me that at least people are not buying higher priced puts and calls today enough to drive it up to 18. And of course, it is a rolling average of basically 24 and 36 day S&P out of the money puts and calls, just the premiums, since they have no intrinsic value themselves. But what else can you say? Apple's off a little bit. Started talking about that on Monday. In fact, actually started talking about it last week. Going in, maybe we'll get into it. We'll get news. We'll get news out of the way, and then we'll talk about Apple a little bit. But what else can you say?
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Anyway, it is a little bit of history repeating. Kind of interesting that we've got some Microsoft news out here from old days and new days. On this day in 1991, Microsoft confirms it's the subject of an investigation by the Federal Trade Commission. Rick Sherlund of Goldman Sachs, top Microsoft analyst on Wall Street, poo-poos the investigation into whether Microsoft is engaging in illegal monopolistic practices. Now, most people don't even know, I can't even remember before then when basically justice went after a U.S. company for monopolistic practices, but it goes back almost between the oil companies, AT&T, and the railroads. There just haven't been a lot of companies that the government's gone after. In the case of the railroads, they were acting in the worst interest of the United States and had to be split up. For AT&T, they just didn't care. They still don't. For Microsoft, it was one where this practice was used politically. We had a new group of politicians really starting to invade Washington, D.C. at the time. Most of these were incredible criminals from Chicago. These criminals decided that they were able to shake everybody down, but for the most part, we had all these people with a lot of new cash over here, and they hadn't been shaken down yet. So we had a handful of people that really knew what was going on, and they kind of did their tithe to the political criminal class. Unfortunately, Microsoft and Bill Gates, not that streetwise when it comes to dealing with basically mobsters from Chicago, and kind of looked the other way. And basically, these mobsters were more interested in trying to see how much money they could extract out of Microsoft for the upcoming presidential election and election of Congress and senators in 1992. And basically, he told them to go pound salt, and they came back fairly quickly. But pretty much this whole thing got started by the Chicago thuggery class. Very unknown at this time, because this is 3 years now before Windows Explorer came out, right? So they've gotten this. This isn't like they put the browser in and everybody got all hot and bothered. This is long before what eventually would happen in April 3rd of 2000, which is that Thomas Penfield Jackson said that they had violated the antitrust law. But basically in his ruling, he basically said that they violated it in 1998. So basically, Microsoft was able to tell everybody to go pound salt for about 6 years. And on that day, Microsoft stock plunged 14.5%, shedding about $80 billion in market value in one single day. And they were basically the example to make sure that companies know that they've got to tie to the political ruling class from now on. Now, could you make a case that they were in monopolistic practices before then? Well, they didn't find anything. In fact, the ruling all had to do with something that wasn't going to come out and even be an issue for 7 years later. But they finally got to it, and now the biggest political contributors and people that lobby the most is Google. In fact, they far exceeded the recent amount of cash coming in from AT&T, Comcast, and Time Warner on the deal, and things kind of went Google's way. So we continue to have the best government that money can buy. It's no different, but on this day, we saw the ball get rolling for the extortion crowd in Washington, D.C. to come after a lot of people in the technology industry. It is also interesting that last night Bill Gates was out doing the rounds. I think this is at Harvard, or maybe it was at MIT, but basically they had a big brouhaha in which they got together and talked about the early days of the PC. And all I could think of was Men at Work.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
It was a mistake, and basically he said, the whole Control-Alt-Delete thing was a mistake. Well, what is it now, 35 years later? I don't know. When someone apologizes 35 years later, do they really think it's a mistake? I don't think so. I just thought it was interesting. Doesn't have a lot to do with that, but after we were talking so much about what they did in 1991, I thought it was very interesting. There is a big trouble in China, and I think we saw a little bit of this come into the market yesterday. More news out here on China's weakness, and we'll talk about more about that when we come back. In the meantime, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can post a message in the den.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Check out the new look of Tiger TV. Now you can see all hosts, charts, and computer screens live in high definition. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pezzavento, Andy Hecht, Thinkorswim, or Daryl Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV. Now, crystal clear in high definition, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't seen the new look of Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
As we were talking as we left, there's continuing big trouble in Little China, growing in China's investment. Basically, the kings of China are working very hard to make sure that a lot of these companies could go public and draw a lot of cash in to the company or to the country. According to the Wall Street Journal sources inside the Chinese government, the changes are both about making the government's firms more business friendly and preparing them to list on stock exchanges. So if you think Alibaba was just the first, stand back. But they also want to consolidate the government's hold over them. It's not privatization. It's that deliberate, they say, at the Wall Street Journal. But retail sales, not good. Still, we'd probably scream for them, up 6%, but I think they were looking for 8 to 8.5%, and that is not what they're getting. Had some email yesterday, and basically torn from the headlines. Question is, what do a lot of the people like Google have to do for email retention, and do they keep our emails, and what does that have to do with them long term? Is it going to be a burden for them to keep everybody's email in perpetuity, and how does this work? And I guess this has a lot to do with Hillary Clinton in the news, and her running her own email server and how that all works out. But for the most part, what it is there would probably be just unworkable to actually keep everybody's email. They do keep them for about 7 days or 14 days, and they do a backup. So let's say that we get another 9/11. They could go back if they know what they're looking for and go through all those backups at Google. They do keep a compressed backup of everything. So, these backups probably include the last 14 days of emails on your system or on their systems. Now, from what I've read out here, Ms. Clinton was using a virtual private network. If you don't know what that is, basically it is a direct connection to the company that was supplying her with her email traffic. Not as easy to break into as a single computer on a internet service provider somewhere. So maybe a little bit more useful, but at the same time, the connection between those 2 points is fairly accurately using crypto. So not a lot of people are going to break into that. Some people use this, especially people that are giant pirates on the internet, will use a virtual private network and then something like torrent to download all their files, and then the ISPs themselves cannot see it. It's unclear that who she's actually and why she actually had a virtual private network outside of the government. But I heard some very interesting ideas that she may have been actually trying to shield it from the other people that she may have looked at as political rivals in the same administration she was in. Unquestionably, it's going to be a big deal over the next 6-9 months. But the ISPs do keep their logs, and basically that would say every email that someone got. Now, in this case, there won't be any for her machine. There would be for whatever company she had going upstream, so they can go back and see every email that was sent back and forth. It just depends on how much time and effort you want to do, and in 4 or 6 years, could they find all the emails? The answer is yes. And if we had a 9/11, they probably would. But for the most part, all they're keeping on you or anybody else out there is metadata. You got an email from somebody, you went to a website at a particular time, maybe you were on that for 5 minutes and then you left that website. All that metadata, and probably the question isn't how long the ISPs keep it, but they kind of made a deal with the NSA several years ago, and that is that they hand all that data over to the NSA, and that's what that big place in Utah, that giant server farm with its own power supplies and a giant lake to cool all those things is all about. Interestingly enough, Google's getting into that business. We'll talk about that when we come back. They're offering a dirt cheap cloud storage system, and it's like a penny a gigabyte per month. It's incredibly cheap. We'll talk about that when we come back, and then we'll get into some of the stocks that are actually moving out here. Be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And talking with the engineer out here about virtual private networks, and there's no if someone wants to and they're willing to spend enough money, they can track you down on the internet no matter what you do, find your emails no matter what you do. There's going to be a digital trace somewhere along the line, a backup somewhere along the line. But basically VPNs make it a lot harder. And of course, last week we saw 40 people in the UK busted. They were all using virtual private networks to hide their hacking activities. But of course, if you screw up big enough, the governments will come after you. In this case, these are the people that had busted into the ex-President Bush's smartphone and got pictures of him and his so-called art. I'm not going to say that he's any Van Gogh, but they did that, busted into some other political elite's phone, and now they're sitting in jail in England. And it's not going to help you. If you're downloading a song or a record album, probably not going to find people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to come after you. You screw with an ex-president, they're going to spend $100,000 to come after you. And that's pretty much what these virtual private networks are all about, is a level of anonymity, but not 100% anonymity if someone's willing to spend the time and effort to come after you. And it does cost, but I digress. Anyway, we're talking about Google. Speaking about backup, they had a blurb out this morning that I thought was very interesting, especially since the prices of cloud storage have been coming down. Amazon's been the most aggressive in pricing. Google has something that's new out, at least they're advertising it today, that's basically called near real time. The idea is that if you need to get to something, let's say that you've got music on the cloud, does it really matter if it's not there in 1/2 or 1/4 of a second? The answer is probably not. So they've got what they call near real time, less than 3 seconds, and it will be less than a penny per gigabyte per month. So let's say you got 10 gigabytes, that's 10 cents a month, $1.20 a year. 100 gigabytes, $12 a year. They're going to be making available storage incredibly cheap as long as it doesn't have to be real time. And this may be yet another wrinkle in what's going on in the price wars that we've seen between Google, Salesforce, a lot of these other companies. Now, it's kind of down on light volume out here today. I know a lot of people were writing off Google back at the lows, but it made a pretty good signal that it didn't want lower prices back here on December 16th. It got to 489 and 487 on January 12th with almost half the volume out here. Now, is it in just a bigger trading range? I think the answer is yes. There's a few companies that I just think are just incredibly stupid to be out here shorting. Google is one. They've got a fairly interesting model. It's fairly transparent in the way that they charge for their business. I don't think you're going to get the big surprise out of nowhere where the stock craters. Another one I say the same time is Boeing, which is they've got orders out the wing wang, and it's going to be there forever. This thing went up to $158.83. But when you've got 5 or 6 years worth of orders, does it really matter that much if you lose a year, you'll make that up another year from now. If you can make everything if you can sell everything that you make for the next year or 2 years, I'm not going to be shorting that company. I want to short companies where there's something physically going to change in the way that the business is done in the government. And to me, other than the entire market maybe pulling back, so they only have 3 years worth of forward sales. I don't think that's a good reason to either buy or sell the company, because those sales come right back as soon as crude prices come back down and or a variety of other things happen. But at the same time, I like companies that are monopolies. And this is another good reason for not shorting both Google and not shorting Boeing. Boeing has one company that it basically competes against. It is a make-work project for all of Europe. They end up doing it's a jobs program in Europe. And I just don't see them ever really getting to the level of Boeing, much less that giant 387 Airbus thing that they make is out crushing runways and hitting other planes because it's too big for the existing runways and airports out there. So, in fact, they haven't had a year. They've gone for a year without selling that giant monster double-decker. And if history is any clue, the 747 isn't where Boeing made all its money. I mean, it made some money in the 70s with it, but where it really has made its money is making those smaller mid-sized planes like the 737, 787, 777. That's 80% of their business. One of the reasons why they didn't go into making a super gigantic plane, in fact, the last 747s coming off the line will probably be the replacements for the president's Air Force One. They'll make 2 of them, and that may be the last 747s made out here. It may just be much better to have more medium-sized airplanes than a lot of giant airplanes, and make people start rebuilding airports and the runways thicker. And the first one of those planes that loses 600 people by going down, you're never going to hear the end of that one. So I think a lot of people are much happier not setting records, because eventually one of those planes is going to fall out of the air, get bombed or something else, and we'll never hear the end of that either. But I do digress. To notable movers out here today, MYL. Speculation is Mylan may be an M&A target, so it was popping out here on a day where not much is going on. Certainly getting a lot of movement in, not decent volume, but of course, like a lot of these stocks, they'll pop right back up to the highs, and then everybody will sell them out. Probably, I'm seeing a lot of these phony rumors out here, and of course, on a day when options go delta neutral, I think there's some fairly likely suspects of who are pushing these rumors around. We've seen the same thing in Tesla. There's a whole bunch of people saying Apple should be buying Tesla. I kind of put this under the category of John is dead in the Beatles. They get these things rolling. But for Tesla Motors, it should have bounced anyway. It got back into the 185 low of January 14th out here with 11 million shares. Got into it yesterday with 5.5 million shares. And it's up on lighter volume, but a lot of that may be part of those rumors on a day when the market's not moving so much. But what can you say? This thing looks like a trading range between 318 and probably 187, 185. Could it go back and test 185? It could, but boy, pretty good test yesterday on lighter volume, even though it didn't go down there and preach it. Other stocks moving out here, SanDisk. A lot of people have been getting hugely short SanDisk out here, and I think we had a little short squeeze in this one. It's been kind of in an up channel since it hit the low out here at $74.30 on January 22nd. And I'm just checking my email here, see if there's anything else going on. I don't see anybody else. You can call me, by the way, at 877-927-6648. SanDisk, this kind of coming up, another one of these stocks. Of course, price target by Goldman has been raised, added to the conviction. Does that mean that these guys should be convicted? That added to the list? I always wondered. Anyway, the conviction list, most of these guys probably should be doing the perp walk, but they are out here. Now, again, this goes up to the previous high of February 13th at $73.71. Pierces it all the way to $84.95, which is a nice little short squeeze. Back into the trading range, though, below that high of February 13th. But some decent volume and a decent short squeeze. The issue with SanDisk, we've talked about it before. It is the same problem with MU, and that is that there was a virtual monopoly when a few bad things happened. One was one of their major competitors in China burned down, and another one went bankrupt at the same time, and really made a commodity-based business turn into a non-commodity business. But now we've got Samsung out there building chips, and not just good chips, but chips that are better than Samsung and chips that are better than Micron. They're 3D memory chips. Samsung licensed that from Intel. And what's the most important thing about this? And that is SSDs, solid-state hard drives. By using this new 3D memory, they're able to pack a lot more memory into the same space of these 2.5-inch drives. And of course, that means a lot more use for these SSDs. Temperature's not such a big deal on these things. Memory, power usage, pretty small. But the Intel 3D chip technology, MLC technology, which is multi-level cell NAND memory, just basically Samsung's coming in, taking a lot of their business. Was this huge gap down 74 or slam down 74.30 back here a low? I don't think so. But slowly, the non-commodity business of memory will go back to what was 20 years a commodity business. I think the same will be in the airlines. The question is just when somebody starts to blink. Another big reasons for these coming down was Samsung has gotten all the deals for new memory for Apple. which is a huge percentage of this business. That business will not come back to SanDisk or Micron. In fact, let's go back and look at Micron real quick and to see how this is doing. And no bounce in this thing today, but ever since this has been below $28.51, you have not had the significant volume of that January 16th low. Got into it with lighter volume on February 2nd with 34 million shares. Last few days, 17 million, 29 million. Today, 13 million on a doji. Now, if the whole market falls apart, is this thing probably going lower? The answer is yes. But right now, there would have to be much better shorts out of here. And my guess is that we're going to stabilize for a while. This thing's going to consolidate out in this 28 to probably $30.50 level in Micron. And if Samsung decides to turn the juice on and really start kicking out of chips out of that new $4 billion plant they have in North Korea, that's it. But that being said, if you see the North Koreans start to invade South Korea, I'd be buying Micron and SanDisk with every dollar I had. And I'd be betting the farm on it. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does start, I always like to think ahead of what I would do if a major political event happened in the world, and that is it. What else do we have going on out here? TSN. Andy would like this stock, the old Tyson Foods. And, of course, poultry names are underperforming on reports that avian influenza in Arkansas poultry is back. And, of course, our favorite spam company.
You mean spam?
Yes, I mean spam. Hormel is also taking it kind of on the chin today. Tyson Foods down huge volume, back down to this high volume low that has been untested from October 16th at $37.02. 33 cents above that for the clip this morning. But look for it to get probably back in there with the 12 million shares they have today. Hormel, HRL. Hormel Foods. Decent volume on this. It's back to support, but again, it came on fairly significant volume. You want this thing to close with less than 1.7 million shares out here, and that is problematic, to say the least. Andy says he loves anything to do with animals. I think that's interesting. Anyway, we're back into this thing, and you just don't want this Hormel Foods to close below $55.40, and of course you want it to close less than the volume it started to break out with, which was 1.7 million shares. 1.2 million shares now. It's going to be close probably, depending on how the day closes out. Let's take a quick look at the indexes again here, and nothing's happening. We're up 1.5 points on the S&P cash with 1.227 billion shares. So again, a lot of what we're seeing out here may just be options related. We won't know, or at least I won't know that till tonight. So make sure and listen to the show. I'll talk about it in the first segment tomorrow after I go through. This is always one of my big nights of the month as I go through options and see what option market makers know and when did they know it. But today's normally when they know it. They're pretty much the most clued in bunch on Wall Street. We'll be back in a minute.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And one of the other stocks making news out here is a small one. You may want to keep an eye on this one. It's Global Star, GSAT. And what they did today was basically show a demonstration to the FCC of what's known as terrestrial low power Wi-Fi service. There's a great deal about, of course, the internet becoming a utility. And one of the things and one of the reasons why a lot of these companies are kind of trying to stay out of this business or keep others out is the thought that there will be some decent low-priced competition in this area. Global Star basically making these towers that could give a 1 to 3 mile area of Wi-Fi. And this is important in cities, but also as we get to more rural areas where it doesn't pay to be stringing a lot of cable up and down highways. You could plop one of these, and they've been able to get fairly decent high speeds, 50 megabits per second with this Global Star equipment. I'm not exactly sure what they showed the FCC, but terrestrial low-power Wi-Fi service certainly seems to be an option, especially in the ill-served countryside, where maybe you could put up one tower and get 20 or 30 people to share it in Farmville, other things where they have no decent high-speed internet. And, of course, always going to be better than trying to do something from a satellite service. It's 300 miles away for the signal to go back and forth. Not such a big deal if your tower's 10 miles away. Still not as good as having optical services that we have. But what can you say? But keep an eye on this one. A little pop today, but this is the kind of story that could make a nice run if these guys get some traction and get some sales. But at least they've shown something that is working now. There's been a lot of people talking about this business, but nobody that really has shown anything yet. Global Star, the first one out here. So keep an eye on them. Other stocks of merit. Whirlpool is weaker, saying basically commentary from analysts saying that with what looks to be lower housing sales and people renting more, they are not getting the sales of new washers and dryers and that kind of stuff as much as thought. And a lot of times this is backroom talk that goes to the analyst, and the analyst is supposed to spout this stuff out, and a way for the company to kind of backdoor getting information out when the SEC would like them to. Unclear if this is actually what it is, but of course on a day when everybody's a little bit nervous already, not great. Now, Whirlpool did give a very good indication that it wasn't going higher out here at 217.11, February 4th. It got within 11 cents of that on 730,000 shares compared to 2.1 million shares. And that's all you got to say for a good double top in this market. Certainly looks that way, but my guess is that we're going to see a long, protracted pullback, probably on higher interest rates too, as maybe we see some kind of pullback in the housing sector at the same time. We're out of time for this show, but I want to thank everybody that tuned in and listened to the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Now, reminding you to sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll catch you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Hold on for Tom O'Brien.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.